Hi, I'm TS. Today I'm going to talk about CB125R. This 125cc TFT LCD full color meter finally introduced to the Japanese market. This version is 2025 version in Japan. I was finally able to ride the CB125R on a short 8-hour rental trip along the Shimanami route. This is a famous cyclist spot in Japan. But this time I will focus on my impression of the CB125R's new features because I've already ride the previous CB125. Maybe it was released in 2022 or 2022. So the TFT LCD meter and also 4-way selectable switch rather than on the driving aspect of the machine. I think it will be useful as a reference since these meters and selectable switches are common part of all new models released by Honda this year. Functions. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the functions and the impression of the TFT LCD meter. 5-inch TFT LCD meter in full color. Finally, it has been introduced to the Japanese market by a Japanese manufacturer. As I remember, I rode KTM Duke 125 before with full color LCD sold in Japan. Maybe it was 3 years ago in 2021, so I thought, quite essential foreign car. It's amazing because there was no 125cc with such meter at that time. But now, my honest impression of the meter of CB125R is easy to read and rich in functions. So I want to talk about continuously easy to read. If you look at the manufacturer's product catalog page, it looks beautiful, but since it is a motorcycle, it is run under the blazing sun and in the tunnel. So if it's actually hard to see, luckily I was able to see the meter in a variety of situations during the ride, including rain, cloudy, and then sunny with a rainbow, and it was easy to see. I think the reason for this are the meters are simply bright. The area around the LCD was reflective, such a black area, but the gauges were not so reflective. We were also able to switch between 3 different patterns of placement, which is also interesting. Bar placement, simple arrangement, and also circle placement. I tried all of them, but the circle are bars and interesting. The technometer moves quickly with the high revving engine. The CB125R has a different quality from engines that stick at low RPM. It was interesting to watch the meter as it went back and forth between 6,000 and 9,000 RPM many times. In that sense, the simple meter is really simple. And also about the function, when the select switch is turned to the right side, you can first switch and check the simple display, trip AB, long press to reset trip, and odometer were also available, and trip AB fuel consumption and average speed could also be displayed. And function 1, shift up indicator function to inform shift timing, technometer peak hold function that can be set to flash at any RPM. This adjustment can be made from the function, and function 2, display. Change the type of meter, circle, etc. as introduced earlier. Change brightness and also change background. This can be adjusted. This automatic brightness adjustment function may be a little tricky. Also, it appears in the video. I switched from manual to automatic because I thought, oh, this is nice. But the function is that the background of the meter turned white or black when it's bright. It is white at night. It is black. Obviously, when the sun goes down, it is always black. But if I made a shadow on the meter or not, a loop, it's like a looping of switching the meter background from white to black, black to white, white to black. So my eyes were stinging, so I changed it back to manual. Function 3, general. The date, time, language can be switched. It is global model, so it may be available in various languages. It looks like more than 10 languages. A function for service. This is a niche item that is not often operated except from maintenance. And next, a 4-way select switch. I operated this switch with sharp mind to operate it with thick gloves in winter, but it was also easy to operate, control. It was easy to operate, just like a game control. It can rotate 360 degrees like a 3D stick of GameCube or PlayStation. In reality, it is a 4-way control, so I thought only up and down and left and right are determined, but it felt more like a stick than a switch. At first I thought I would only be able to touch a small arrow, but it was easy to operate because I could flip all of these buttons. So don't tell me that I pressed this switch wrong, because it feels like a direction indicator when I press it to the right or left. Because of this is a Honda motorbike. Next, by the way, driving. I'm gonna talk about driving. Engine liquid cooled 4-stroke DOHC double overhead camshaft 4-valve single cylinder, and displacement of 124 cc. Maximum output is 15 horsepower and 10,000 rpm. And maximum torque is 11 newton meter, 8,000 rpm. Fuel consumption rate is 54 km per liter. That's an amazing score. It may seem that the engine has not changed from the previous model, but the engine has changed from 12 Newton meter to 11 Newton meter in this model. Perhaps it is because the torque has decreased, but the feeling of torque at the low to mid RPM seems to have dropped. I feel that the previous model had an impression of sticking around at low RPMs. The acceleration and torque between 6,000 RPM and 9,000 RPM is still very good. So I enjoy the changing gears in 1st to 6th gear while driving. Maybe a change in electronic control rather than a drop in maximum output. I wonder if there is a limiter for Japanese version. So I'm not talking about the global model. This is the Japanese version. It's rare for a 125cc model. ABS with IMU is installed. The gear is 1-pot single-sided disc brake, CB125R. Good points are it's easy to handle brake and suspension, which I personally felt after riding for the first time in a long time. Since the 125cc model is designed for street riding, it is easy to handle in a small town, and the brakes are easy to handle. I especially like the feeling of contact between the road surface and the tire when the front brake is applied. I think this is a feeling that is harder to get on 125cc. After the movement of the front fork when riding at high speed and over severe bumps is particularly impressive. The damping could be felt on the street even when riding at high speed. The swing arm of CB125R has a pivot point quite far forward, and the short muffler is also impressive. The rear is centralized with a bore suspension. The compact chassis is equipped with 70 inches tire, but I think it is suitable for city driving because of its small turning capacity. This is the catalog, the tire 110, 17, 110, 70 and 70 inches, and the rear is 150, 60, 17 inches. The rear shock absorber is not adjustable, so it seems stable to me as a 65 kilogram riders, but the feeling might differ depending on the difference in weight. And also footing, the detailed footing is shown in the video. If you are 180 centimeter or taller, you should be able to get good feel of the footing. I recently measured 182.5 centimeter at my physical checkup, but I leave it at 182 centimeter because it's too much trouble. And look at the handle, taper handlebar. To begin with, a front fork is a Showa SFFBP, which produces a feeling of ground contact that is hard to believe for 125cc bikes. Thanks to this, you can enjoy relaxed touring like a naked type without any worries. Also, it is the subjective option. I like handlebar option of CB125R. The position of the handlebar is perfect. If it is too low, the rider's weight is on the palm, which can easily cause pain. And if it is too high, the rider may feel tired. If it is too close, it feels cramped. And if it is too far away, your little fingers are separated when turning. So I think this is a perfect distance. And finally, conclusion. While I was very satisfied when I rode because the meter introduced by Honda was quite easy to read. The torque of low to medium RPM, fell or high RPM, and when I sped up the shift change. However, I was also impressed that I can enjoy it when I shift gears quickly high RPM. The maximum speed was also clearly reduced. I guess it is controlled. I hope this will be reference for you to consider the purchase of the old or new model depending on what you think about this point.